Hey Achievers, and welcome to today's lesson on how to easily multiply fractions without making any mistakes whatsoever. Multiplying fractions, like a half and 3/4 for instance, is actually easy peasy, and all you need to do is learn the steps and recognize the language that sometimes gets used in word questions. We also need to make sure that we are comfortable with our basic times tables. In fact, it's even easier than adding fractions, which sounds really weird, I know, but I'll show you why that's true. The reason it's easier to multiply fractions together instead of adding them is because fractions are really just division problems in disguise. This is because the top part of the fraction, also known as the numerator, is being divided by the bottom part, the denominator. This also links into how we form decimals. For example, the fraction 4/8 is the same as asking what is 4 divided by 8, or 4 split into 8 equal parts. Don't worry if you're not sure how to do this just yet, because this will all be covered in a later lesson. But just to show you how it works, 4 divided by 8 is 0.5, which is the decimal form of the fraction 4/8. In other words, 4 slices out of an 8-sliced pizza will be 50% of the whole pizza. That's if you like hearing your proportions in percentages. I know I like to hear them like that sometimes. Anyway, now I've explained that fractions are really just division problems, this new piece of information can be super helpful to us, especially now we want to learn how to multiply fractions together. This is because multiplying and dividing are basically perfect opposites. In other words, they're best mates in the maths world. And they get along way better than, say, multiplying and adding. And that's why we're going to learn it first. So now we are looking at fractions like division problems, let's jump straight in and have a look at the question 1/5 times 2/5. Thinking back on what we've just covered, this is the same as 1 divided by 5 times by 2 divided by 5. This shows exactly how we have multiplication and division in the same problem. And since we know they get along so well, we can rearrange the question like this and make one big fraction with two multiplication problems on top and below. In fact, if we go ahead and do these multiplications, on top we will get 1 times 2, which equals 2, and underneath 5 times 5, which equals 25. And we still end up with a fraction. And guess what? It's the answer to our problem, 2/25. So what does this mean? Is it really as easy as that? Yep, it sure is. To multiply any fraction together, all you need to do is multiply the top numbers together and then the bottom numbers separately. See, I told you it was easy. Okay, as always, here's one for you guys to try at home to see if you've cracked it. What is 3/4 times 5/6? Give the video a pause and have a go if you're feeling up to it. Okay, now we can rewrite it like before if we want to, as one big fraction, but that's not really necessary. If you remember, we just need to times the top numbers together and then the bottom numbers. Starting from the top, we have 3 times 5, giving us 15. And then underneath, we write the answer to 4 times 6, which is 24. So the answer to 3/4 times 5/6 is 15/24. See how easy that was? Maybe even a little bit of fun too. Okay, time to level up. Here's a trickier one for you to try. Again, pause the video and have a go. What is 7/11 times 8/9? Great, so this one just requires knowing your 8 and 9 times tables well. Other than that, it's the same as before. On top of our new fraction, we have 7 times 8, which equals 56. And underneath, we put 99, which is the answer to 9 times 11. So the answer we get is 56/99. So there you go. Multiplying fractions are really easy, but remember that we can also write fractions as parts of something, like half of a cherry pie, for instance. This might have been how you first learned about fractions. But does it make sense to multiply, say, an eighth of a cherry pie by another eighth of a cherry pie? Actually, it does. Treating fractions as parts of something means multiplying them is like taking part of another part. In this case, an eighth of an eighth would now give us a 64th of a cherry pie. Going back to that half of a pizza we talked about at the beginning of the video, if we were to now take a half of that again, we would cut it through the middle and end up with a quarter slice of the whole original pizza. And if we did the multiplication to go along with it, well, a half times a half, well, that will equal a quarter. So that's how we can also view fractions as part of another part. And the procedure to work out all of these examples stay exactly the same. But we have to be careful, because sometimes we will get given a word or a story problem that treats fractions as parts of something, like we've just seen, but they might not even mention the word times or multiply. Instead, you will see them using the word of instead of times. You might get asked, what is 3/4 of 2/5? Well, and now you know that it just means 3/4 times 2/5. So there is no need to panic. If you ever see the word of in any sort of maths question, then it's always going to mean some sort of timesing. Of is basically the word version of the multiplication sign we all know and love. So to answer that question, 3 times 2 is 6 and 4 times 5 is 20. So the answer is 6/20. Now I know all you math geniuses out there might notice that this fraction can be simplified down to 3/10, but that's something for another lesson. Great work today, guys. I hope you're now feeling a lot more confident in multiplying fractions together. It'd be really appreciated if you could like, share, and smash that subscribe button, because lots of videos will be coming your way just like this one.